and then I will start. And I will start by introducing myself. I'm Jaap in der Maur, but you can call me JJ if you want to. That's easier. I'm based in Aalsmeer, the Netherlands. We just found out that there is one person very close to me in Rotterdam, Danielle. Who thinks that he or she is the longest away from me? How far away are you from me? Could you please, maybe in the chat, enter where you are? Could you enter in the chat where you are based right now? Austria, Canada, that's a long way from here. Melbourne, that's a long way from here. Oost-Vlaanderen is very close. Helsingborg, yes, I suspected that. Lisbon, Colombia, Hanover, cool. So basically, we have California. We have people from all over the world here, and that is really great. I welcome you all. By the way, I welcome people here on the Zoom session, and also welcome people on the Facebook stream. There is some people simply watching what we are doing on Facebook. This afternoon, we will be talking about vision, and my vision for the afternoon is a very short-term vision. I hope that I can send you away from this session by 5 o'clock with a lot of learnings and insights and new inspiration. So probably my vision will be ready by the end of the afternoon. We do have 2 speakers, and I will start with number 1 in a few minutes. But first of all, I want to ask you to do something for me. Could you, first of all, please all switch on your microphone? Please all switch on your microphone. Yes. Okay. The strange rule seems to be internationally that we all switch off our microphone. But with smaller groups, and we are here with, what is it, 40 people, I like it better to have microphones on, because then we can talk easier. And you can kind of hear other people when they're laughing and when they're sighing, etc. The only rule here is keep your microphone on, unless you find out that there is something in your room or in your house or in your office that obviously will distract others. So if the dog starts barking, or one of the children starts crying, or whatever, the neighbor starts drilling holes in the wall, then please put on your off your microphone. But otherwise, please keep it on. I like that. Could you all please grab a piece of paper and a pen? Yes, there is a baby. I hear a baby. Yes, there it is. Little baby Enno. Ah, that's cute. I love that. Right, do you all have a piece of paper and a pen? Good. Because this session is about vision. And in order to help you kind of translate what you learned today into usable stuff, I want you to think of one vision that you have of your own. That might be a professional vision. If you have a professional vision, please keep that in mind. But it might be a personal vision. If you want to make the football team of your little son the best football team in the world, that's a vision too. Please think of one vision that you will use during this session. If you have that vision, then please on your piece of paper, write down your vision at the top of the paper. Please do that for me. Write your vision at the top of your paper. I see people writing, so that's good. And when you wrote down that vision, then please do the same as I did. Draw a line like this and draw a line down. And what I want you to do during this session, and I will keep on remembering you later, is that on the left side, you will write down stuff that is between you and your vision. Stuff that is keeping you from getting to your vision. And on the right side, you will write down stuff that will help you make your vision come true. And as you will notice, both speakers will give you some ideas of what to put on the left and what to put on the right. And by the end of this session, you will have a general idea on how to approach your vision in order to really get there. And that is what this session is about, making visions come true. Having said that, and I will be back with you later, I want to introduce our first speaker. And our first speaker is with the University of Freiburg, but that is not primarily why he's here. He is here because he did a project on basic income. He had a vision, and I suspect he still has the vision. I will be talking to Enno Schmidt in a minute. But before we do, I want you to do something. If you go down to the stop video sign at the bottom of your screen, there is a little arrow. If you click on that arrow, then you see video settings. Yeah? If you go down through the video settings, there is one option, and that says hide non-video participants. Could you switch the option hide non-video participants on, please? When you did, then please switch off your camera and your microphone. And then you will all only see me and Enno, which makes it easier to be part of our conversation. And now, just to be sure, you do not need to switch off your camera, right, Enno? Because I need you here. And there is Enno. And Gerard and Ahmad are still here. Could you switch off your camera, Ahmad and Gerard? And there goes Ahmad, I think. And then I say, good afternoon, Enno.
Good afternoon, Jaap.
How are you doing?
Yes. Oh, fine.
Good. Are you in Freiburg at the moment?
Oh, no, I'm living in Oberlied, that it's in the Black Forest. So I lived a long time in Basel for the campaign and all that stuff, but now in the mountains.
Okay. Thank you for introducing the campaign. Could you explain to the people in the room what the vision is that you were working on? What was this campaign?
So the campaign was about basic income, unconditional basic income. I guess most people know the idea. That is that everybody should have an income high enough to live from, without strings attached, without any judgment about the people, without any force to work and all that stuff. And this is a paradigm shift. And if you look to it and you look to yourself or you feel it, you easily understand that this is a utopian. And many people are astonished and didn't believe that this could be a serious idea.
Before we talk about the idea, Enno, your vision was to have an unconditional basic income. Did you want it for the world or for only Freiburg, or what are we talking about here?
Only in Netherlands. No, it was, so the vision is for everybody on earth, but you know, I'm a painter, I'm coming from painting, and if you want to paint a picture, you have to start. You have to start with a picture at any point. Yeah. So that is, I moved to Switzerland because...
That's your phone, right?
I'm sorry.
Switch off your phone first.
I never get a call, but now.
That's my vision in life, never to be disturbed by phones again. But
sorry for that. But yeah, so I'm German. I'm from Germany. I met with Daniel Henny from Switzerland, and we felt that we agree so deeply in so many things you cannot learn about what is art in the future, what is the future of enterprises working together and that stuff. And I guess this is one of the first important points for me for a vision, that it didn't came up by a thought, an idea, and then start going to it, but it came up by biographies crossing. And that make the strength that two people decide to do one thing, which both consider as the most important thing to have to become true in our times, and that was unconditional basic income.
It almost sounds philosophical, but are you saying that the vision will find you and not the other way around?
No, I want to say, if you go for a vision, it needs to be your life. So it's not just a wish. It's not a nice to have idea. It is that you put in your life for it. It has to be your life. It is your lifetime. It's your life impulse. So if you are thinking about bringing visions to life, then the first point is it has to be your life. And that happened at that time. And I moved to Switzerland because they have this political instrument of direct democracy. I didn't want to wait for it in Germany. And so two people started that idea, and it was, of course, for Switzerland. And it was intended from the beginning on that you can have a public vote, a referendum in Switzerland.
Yeah. So basically, you went for a public vote in Switzerland, hoping to get Switzerland to say yes to the basic income.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did the vote already happen, Enno?
Yeah, it happens. And
did you get your vision?
And you know what? Yeah, I got my vision, absolutely. So the majority, that's your question, yes. The majorities rejected it. So it was 23% of the votes in favor for an unconditional basic income. But now listen, this was a public vote. This is not a petition. That's not an opinion poll, a survey or whatever. People knew when I say yes, I have to pay for it. You know, unconditional basic income is not just getting money, it's in any way also paying money. And it's legally binding. You create a law, you change the constitution of the country. So 23% is rather brave, rather encouraged. But, you know, you've asked for the vision, and maybe this is important for all those people who are going for a vision. The impact or the result was that hundreds of millions of people around the globe got the first time an idea about unconditional basic income, because it was reported in the media. So medias were very attracted to us because we work with images, pictures, big pictures, always work with beauty. So the idea is beautiful, so everything has to be beauty, what we spread in the world. And by that reason, the discussion started in the United States. By that reason, the Indian Parliament decided to look if that could be in the budget. The Labour Party in the UK brought that into their program. It's not just because of us. Everything was prepared.
Yeah. And now allow me to be the devil's advocate here.
Please.
Your vision was to bring basic income to Switzerland and maybe to the rest of the world. You had a vote. You lost. And there is no basic income in the world yet. Is your vision dead by losing that vote?
No, the vision is, or let's say the goal is implementation of basic income in everywhere. Yeah. But the vision to bring it to Switzerland and bring it to the world, that was fulfilled by the awareness, because it's a public vote, it's a state's affair, it's not some people are talking about that in the backyard. So the vision was fulfilled to spread that idea, to make it experienceable for the people, for millions of people.
So is your thought here that your vision in the end is not the most important thing? The actual being there of your vision, maybe it will not come in your lifetime.
Yeah, I think you are right. Maybe, but you know, for me, that is very important. This is such a big thing. You cannot depend on getting that in the way, in an abstract way. You are thinking about, wow, that would be good if everybody has it. And so that is a goal. It's much too big for that. And you have to see the way to do that has to enjoy yourself. So the way is a long way. And I know some projects where people depend too much on the result they imagined before, and then they die by starvation. So they are exhausted. They have a bad life. They make an experience how to treat your life badly. That's not good. That's not good for what you radiate, what you bring in the society. So it's a long way, and you need to know that this is an offer to other people. It's not that I will win. So I'm not the winner when the vote says yes or not. I offer this to the people. I service it to the people, and the people have to decide. And I think this is in a way modern, that you don't say, I have to go straight on following the flag and then implement it, patch. No, it's a democratic society, and it needs the thinking and the will of all the other people too.
But one might imagine that when you lost the referendum, that you were disappointed and that you maybe even would have thought, okay, so nobody wants my vision, forget about it.
No, that's not, 23% is a lot. So many people wanted it. And if you have a feeling of what your vision is, and I guess that's important not to be too naive or too much focused on yourself and how much you are inspired by that. You have to know what it triggers, what it needs, what it challenges by other people, and it challenges a lot. So it needs a time, and I know it. And already the idea of an unconditional basic income is changing so much for so many people by their courage to live, by their perspectives in life. So it's not just the end result. It is always the embracing and the meeting with people and talking with people. So it's an ongoing process. And it's for me a delightment of this century. So to rethink what is economy, what is the conception of work, what is this finances, and all that stuff. And this is a big project. There are so many side effects of it.
Yeah. So when I hear you correctly, you say a vision is not one moment, it's not one dimension, it's not one person. There's always this multitude of influences and ideas.
Absolutely. And it is your life. It is your life. So some people think, oh, I have such a good idea. I need to save the world. And now I do everything, every suffering, everything. This is not a good goal. This is not a good thing. You have to become independent in a way, like I said, from reaching what your desire is and being aware of what you are really doing.
Okay. I want to look into one other aspect, because you said when you go into that vision, you really need to make it your life to work with that.
Yeah.
There will be people working with communities, with cities, with governments, whatever, and they are working with a vision that they did not come up with themselves. It is the vision of their, for instance, our second speaker. We are talking about a vision of a city. How can you make it your life when it's not your vision from your own heart?
Oh, then you can't do it. I think you can't do it. So maybe there are several and different procedures and models and all that stuff. Of course it's different when it is a vision of a city and you are at one little point or something like that. Then we have to look to that. But what I'm talking about, and this is my experience, several projects, the basic income is only one. My experience is always that only those people who really give their life for it can move something. And that radiates. That's an atmosphere, that's a mood, and people feel that. It needs authenticity.
Basically, by the way, Lotta, can you hear me? You are making a lot of noise. Could you switch off your microphone, Lotta? I hope she hears me. So basically what you're saying is, if you are handed a vision that you need to execute, if you can't really love the vision, then say no?
Oh yeah, I would propose to do that. So that's not the current situation. And maybe you like that and you contribute, you serve to it. That's fine too. But this is part of the idea of an unconditional basic income for me, that I guess we are all better if we do what we really love to do. And that is more fruitful for the whole of the society. And you will find so many people joining in your vision project. If there's an unconditional basic income, then we have a stable basis for so many more projects.
Yeah. Going to a conclusion, what were the things that kept you from getting the universal basic income so far? And what do you think will be the things that will help you get to your vision, the universal basic income?
Yeah, again, so I think I got much more than my vision was in that project in Switzerland. But the most dangerous, or the biggest obstacle in that process was, and that's what I always tell people, as long as it's not so important, people are friends. We all agree. When it becomes important, so when the medias are coming, when the TV is coming, when a lot of money is coming, when power is at the horizon, social struggle starts always. And to be prepared that the most civil movements fail because of social struggle inside the teams, the groups. So this, I guess, is important to know, to be prepared that this will come up. And you should be prepared that if the medias come and want to pick up one face, one hero, and this is destructive for the whole social cohesion in the group, it's better to don't do that. It's always good to look to the social work, social cohesion in that group, much more important than this one spot.
Gerald comes up with a question, what do you mean with social struggle? Can you give one example?
Yeah, that so at one moment people start to criticize everything that one person is doing, mostly that person that is at the top position. So then it is distrust, it is that people want to create their own part in that group because they don't agree to those who are leading. And this is not in the beginning. This is when it becomes to some importance, and people become very nervous when there is, let's say, political power in charge or arises. So then people are fighting against each other. Groups are splitting, little groups are splitting, and the splitting is going on and going on. This little group, that little group, so they are fighting against. That's what I mean.
Okay. I'm going to ask all the participants to switch on their cameras again. Please, all participants, switch on your cameras so we can see you again. Here they come, all the beautiful faces. Yes, welcome back, all you great faces. First of all, I'm going to give you a minute to pick up your piece of paper where you wrote down your vision. I'm looking for mine, I can't find it anymore, but it's here. Get your piece of paper and quickly take some notes, what you took from Enno's story. On the left side, what is keeping you from your vision. On the right side, what will help you to get to your vision. This is the paper I meant. I will give you a minute to do so. And I can imagine that listening to Enno and writing down the learnings that you picked up, that will bring you some questions. So please all feel free to switch on your microphone and come up with questions to Enno. Any questions, ladies and gentlemen?
Actually, yes, I do have a question.
Hi, Gerald. Yes, go ahead.
JJ, good to see you. Well, I would have a question, Enno. So when you say social cohesion within the group is really critical, where do you draw the line? Because if you're advancing a project or a vision and more people are coming in and you're getting more and more attention, that also means that other stakeholders are becoming part of it and kind of shaping it. So where do you actually draw then the line of saying, okay, this is deviating too much from my vision, or where do you maybe accept some of your co-creators to leaving simply because they can't underwrite it anymore?
Well, it always depends on the situation. I think you have to look what are the reasons where you can draw the line. For us in my example, we handled it that way that if it was really fighting against, or it was really a very bad atmosphere between people, then we decided, okay, do your thing. We don't argue against you, but we don't work together with you actively. So we decided that, for example, in Switzerland, then it was a group in Zurich and in Basel. They worked together for the campaign, but we have had so much struggle with each other that we decided to don't do it together, but for the same goal. If people come in from outside later, then that is different. They come in with their own understanding and goals, and then it's a question of the first contract or the first agreements, whether they can join in or not. So we try to handle it by not looking too much on that, not trying to have too many discussions or something like that. But when we saw there's no solution, it's going on, and we decided to have several groups.
And what happens, Enno, when, I mean, you basically started the vision with 2 people, right? And then at some point there will be 20 or 200 or 2,000. And what if the majority thinks that you should go left, whereas the original 2 thinks they go right? Is it then still your vision?
Say it again. What is the question in that? So if that the majority is thinking I should leave.
Yeah. What if the majority thinks your vision should change?
Oh yeah, then the majority is wrong. No, this is one point. So it didn't happen. It didn't happen. So I cannot say it by my experience. But what my experience or what I learned, and that was new for me, is really that you have to look who have had the initiative, who was starting the program. And this person is always bound and connected to the faith of the story. So it's always not, so this person, or in this case 2 persons, should always have the decision in all that difficult questions, because it is something like an invisible truth that the founders of a movement or a campaign or whatever, yeah, I don't know. They know what's to do. They know what's to do.
Okay, thank you. Is there any more questions, Andrew?
Enno, hi. Thank you for your talk. I have a question about. I think the idea of actually living your vision or radiating it is a really interesting idea. But I'm interested to know what techniques or specific things you might be able to do while you're radiating that vision. So do you talk about it, or do you show it in visuals, or what are the techniques that you can use to actually disseminate your vision beyond you?
So when we started in 2006, YouTube wasn't so usual at that time, and we started to make the first films on YouTube about basic income ever in history. We focused on huge events, always generous, so always the atmosphere of generosity. We were focused on think big. So we made, for example, the biggest poster in the world Guinness World Record, was the biggest question in the world. That's a question, what would you do if your income were taken care of? We dropped 8 million coins on the Federal Square in Bern. So we try to create huge pictures. Also, of course, talks and lectures and all this stuff, and a book, but it always was intended to be attractive for the people, to have a bit sex appeal, to have a momentum that people are thinking, this is more exciting than others. So, you know, if a car is technical good, that's okay. So if the idea is interesting, you know, but it has to look nice too. It has to look beautiful. And that was what we tried to draw the attention to attract the attention to us, to serve the people, that the people feel we have a benefit, not just because the idea is so terribly important, but because it's more exciting.
Okay. And is it important to actually involve people in the idea, or is just showing the idea enough?
Well, you cannot involve all the people. So when we have that collection of signatures, they were, let's say, 350 people involved, but the core team who really collected signatures were around about 25 or 30, and the core team of the initiative itself has been, let's say, 8 people.
Okay.
So it's not, yeah.
Thanks. For now, I would have time for one more question, if there is one. Any more questions? Yes. Hi, Christina. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hello from Montreal. I have a question about just involving the right stakeholders in the beginning, and often you might have sort of a criteria to, you know, with shared vision and things like that, but then you have your gut instinct. And sort of like, and if you're a painter, my guess is that you're probably pretty intuitive, and how you kind of play off of those two between your gut, your intuition, and also those things that you feel should check certain boxes for making your team.
So yeah, telling this from my experience from that project, and it's similar to other projects.
Hi, Christina, go ahead.
Yeah, hello from Montreal.
Okay, so first, as I said, I think for starting a project for the vision, something is needed that looks like randomly, that people meet or people come and join. So when I made the film about basic income, 2 other guys came to us and they wanted that we start with the people's initiative and the people's vote. And they made a big progress then. And when we looked for people that can join, so then of course we looked for those who have who are celebrities in a way and have money in a way. And in some cases that work very well. In others, for example, we have had an entrepreneur in the group, brilliant guy, but he was not used to work together with others and the ideas of others. So he wanted to have that in his hand. And so we needed to do it without him. So yeah, if I understand your question in the right way, then it is more instinct, and it is not so much, and it is what people do you know, and with what people is a good chemical relationship. And that is more important than to ask all the people who are interesting for you, but they are not interested in it. So what I want to say is, if you are going, so the ground is coming up, and also those people who join in when you are walking. So the ground is created by walking. It's not just before. You can start walking. In the beginning, everything looks very complicated as long as you stay still. But if you start walking, things are sorting out for you and become more clear. And by the progress, so not staying there waiting, because there is always a red light that says, oh, we have to wait for that and that. You should start walking immediately, and then things are sorting out for you. Also, those people who come in, join in that group, whether these are very celebrities, famous people, people with a huge reputation, or whatever, what you need, it comes by walking.
So it's kind of an organic approach.
Yes.
Don't plan too much, simply start doing, yeah. and it will come to you. Okay.
And because you mentioned painting, it is like painting. You don't know exactly what it is, but by painting, wow, it comes up. And then you have to be awake enough and aware enough not to destroy it, because you have a different imagination. So that's the reason why it shouldn't be too much fixed in before, and you should be present and flexible in the moment.
Yeah. So not having it fixed, allowing it to be organic, and simply start walking. That's. Yeah. I'm going to allow you another 30 seconds to make some notes on your piece of paper, ladies and gentlemen. Remember your vision and write down stuff that you want to remember from this. so that when tomorrow you need to explain what you did this afternoon, you can simply read it off from paper. And while you do it, I'm saying thank you to Enno for now. Enno, please stick around because we might need you later on in the session.
I hope so.
For now, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I'm moving on to the next speaker, Soraya Axelsson from the city of Helsingborg.
Hi.
And kindly, everyone, switch off your camera again, except for, of course, Soraya. Camera's off, microphone's off, and then it's only me and Soraya that you see in the picture. Can you find it, Manfred? Switching the camera off. If not, I will help you. Wow. While Manfred is struggling with his camera, I will start the interview with you, Soraya. You work with the city of Helsingborg,
Yeah.
and you are head of the H22 project.
Yes.
Can you give me a short explanation of what the H22 project is?
Yeah, so the H22 project, it's our city's big investment in smart and sustainable cities for the future. So it's our big investment in smart city and innovation and welfare development and urban development as well.
Okay. What is the big vision here in H22?
Well, actually, we have a vision for the city. So that is the main vision, even for the H22 project, of course.
And what does the vision for the city look like?
Our vision is called Helsingborg 2035, and it states that in 2035, Helsingborg will be the creative, united, global, and balanced city, pulsing with life for both people and businesses. And it also states that Helsingborg is the city for living your dreams.
But dreams might be very different for different people. So
Exactly.
How can you make sure that everybody gets his own or her own dream in Helsingborg?
Yeah, but we try to work instead of just being a city that delivers service and see ourselves as a producer. We see ourselves as an enabler. So we try to make it possible for people to fulfill their dreams and use the city as their platform, instead of us telling them what they can do and they can't do, because we have about 150,000 citizens in our city, and that's a whole lot of dreams.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
There's not a city administration that can know all about them.
And looking at this vision, how can you facilitate this? Because there is not one major saying to the city, this is the vision and this is how we will do it. So how will you make sure that this vision comes to life?
Yeah, but we are working with it in different ways. So first of all, our vision was politically decided in 2012, and it is a vision that is jointly decided by all political parties. So all the politicians, they agree on that this is the way we're going.
How can you make that happen? Because it's hardly ever that all politicians agree on one thing, right?
Yeah, but it was a whole lot of work, and it was not made in a week or in a day. And the project creating the vision included dialogue with all the politicians, with citizens, with everybody, with all the people in our organization. So it was, they have decided on where we're going, but they can still disagree on what is the best way to get there. So there's still a possibility for all the political parties to have their own agenda and what is highest up right now and what should be focused on.
Does that mean that a vision should be vague enough for everybody to say yes to?
Vague or not vague. I would like to say that
open, maybe
open. Yeah, exactly. It should be open enough so that everybody can find the thing that keeps them engaged. in it.
Yeah.
But it should not be too concrete, because if it's too concrete, then it's probably more like an objective, and then you decide too much for everybody. So okay, we're going that way, and you need to do A, B, C. So it's I think it's important to find the balance.
Yeah. So vision is something else than an objective, you say. But on the other hand, if a vision is too vague, then maybe nothing happens.
But the thing is that I'm not sure that it's the vision itself that makes things happen. I think it's the people working with the vision that make things happen.
That's interesting. Explain.
Yeah, but you know, the vision it's like giving a picture of where is the end station for this for the upcoming years that we have, and people will join the train, and people will leave the train, and it's in the end, it's the most important thing is that you have people that are willing to work towards the vision, and that sees their work to that they see that if they do everything they can to fulfill the vision in the best possible way, then it's more likely that we will end up there. Okay. But there will be a lot of hinders on the way. There will be a lot of different objectives on the way. There will be a lot of different people on the way. And I think the most important thing is just to keep the focus clear on where we're going. So, but every person working with the vision needs to make it their own. They need to embrace it in their way. They need to find the engagement. Why should I engage in this vision?
So on one hand, you're saying the vision is only the vehicle. It's not the objective, it's a vehicle. On the other hand, you say involve a lot of stakeholders also, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's important to involve as many as possible.
Okay, how do you do that in Helsingborg?
We do it in different ways. For example, if we just look at how we have involved all our employees in the city, we have been working with this vision for a whole lot of years, right? So one thing that we have been doing is that all managers have went through a leadership program. The same leadership program. It's about 500 managers in our city, and also politicians, and also key stakeholders have gone through this. So everybody knows how they get tools how to work with the vision, right? And then we have about 10,000 employees, and we have actually created days for all our employees, where everybody have been talking about the vision, getting to know it, and trying to see how can I actually contribute to the fulfillment of this vision. And then several other ways, of course.
Mattis brings up a question. Can you give an example of what people are doing to bring this vision to life?
Yeah, of course. I can give you, we have one example that is called the Vision Fund. Okay. So so the vision is not only for the municipal organization, it's also for the citizens and all the companies, right? So we created the Vision Fund. So every year the city hands out 100,000 euros to the citizens in Helsingborg so that they can fulfill their dreams. So it's a very easy application process. You can get up to 10,000 euro per idea. So let's say that I live in the city and I want to start a culture project by the sea. Yeah. So I would say the application
because for people who don't know Helsingborg is by the sea, right?
Yeah, it is by the sea.
You don't have to build the sea first. Okay.
No, you don't need to build the sea. The sea is there. So you can apply very easy, and we also have idea coaches that will help you to develop your idea, and then you can get some money contributions so that you can fulfill it. But we also try to coach them all the way through. So we have, for the past years, I think we have almost 100 vision projects that have been done in our city. And that is very interesting because those ideas is not something that the municipal organization would have developed or done. So that's one example, for example.
Okay. Can you give me a short list of what is keeping Helsingborg from the vision and what is helping Helsingborg to get the vision?
Yeah, but if I start with things that will help, that helps us to reach the vision, is that I think this vision is that it triggers creativity. So it's not too concrete. It is quite open, but it's also pretty clear where we're going. Okay. So people can be creative within this frame. So that's one good thing, all right? Yeah. The second thing about it is that it's quite short and simple. Behind these 5 words that I said before, creative, united, global, balanced, and pulsing, there's of course a description so that you can get a more sense of what we're trying to achieve. But it's easy for people to remember. Yeah. And if you can remember it, it's more likely that you will work towards it.
Okay.
So that's one thing more.
Yeah.
Another thing is that we're working really, really hard. And we set goals that help us on the way. For example, in 2022, the city of Helsingborg is supposed to be one of Europe's most innovative cities. That is a joint goal for the whole city, and we're working really hard in all our different departments and in all our companies and together with academia, associations, and citizens and so on. So even if it's going well for Helsingborg, we're not leaning back and saying, okay, so it's going well, we don't have to do anything. Instead, we're saying, okay, so this was really, really good. Let's celebrate.
Next step,
But we need to do even better.
Okay, so laziness will never get you to your vision, right?
Laziness will never help.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Can you give me 1 or 2 things that will hinder getting to your vision? Because before we turn to questions.
Yeah, I would say, and this is probably for all organizations out there. One thing that will hinder you is that if you don't get the people that needs these key stakeholders to embrace the vision. Okay. If you put it on the wall and if you state it on the wall and you say, this is our vision, just so you know it, keep on going there, and you don't find the way to get people engaged, nothing will happen. I promise you. It will be a beautiful vision on the wall. So you need to get it inside people, and the only way to get there is to spread it in different ways, because some people like to hear about it, some people like to create their own projects to fulfill it.
But it kind of sounds like you say a vision is something, let's say, democratic, but doesn't a vision need one strong leader? A dictator, maybe even?
No, I wouldn't say that it needs one strong leader. I would say it needs a strong leadership. But the leadership is that is needed is the one that makes people want to go on board. Because if you try to command them to go on board, I'm not sure you will succeed either. But if you can inspire them to want to join, then you will also find the power within the people who have joined the journey. So I'm not sure you need one. I think you need a whole lot of them. But it's not only the managers or the CEO that needs to donate. It's all the employees that work towards it.
And all the citizens, probably.
And for us, it's all the citizens and all the businesses and so on.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's one.
If you have one more, then in the meantime, maybe people can switch off their camera, on their cameras again, because I'm wanting to see faces again. Do you have one more hinder?
Yeah, one more hinder is that if it's too long or too complex, if you try to write a vision in like 10 pages and you try to find all the perfect words, people will never remember it.
Okay.
And it would probably be a very, very nice thing to have in the shelf. but you need to create a vision that makes you feel something. Short. I usually use the word in Sweden. Yeah, it's actually in English. So you can use the word KISS. Keep it short and simple.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and then Enno said, and then make it look beautiful, and then you have a great combination, probably.
Yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, 30 seconds again to quickly write down some learnings. Related to the vision that you took in mind when we started this session. And when you all took down some notes, I want to open the virtual floor to questions to Soraya. So any questions, ladies and gentlemen? People are still writing, still taking notes, which is a good sign.
I have a question, JJ.
Yes, please, Daniela.
So Soraya, a lot of cities will claim they want to be the most innovative city, as is a goal for your city as well. So when, in your mind, did it succeed to become the most innovative city? Is it the result that counts, or is it the process?
I would say that it's actually both. The first part about that is that I would say that we have succeeded if we have created an ecosystem that enhances innovation. So it's all about how you can create a structure for innovation to grow, so that you can go from just working with ordinary development, organizational development, to actually create new ideas, tools, innovations. So I think that is a real big step. If we or when we have created that innovation ecosystem, then I would say that we are one of the most innovative cities in Europe. But it's not always a competition. It's not that we need to be the only one. If there are other cities that say we also want to be the most innovative cities in Europe, we say, yeah, let's do it together, because I think togetherness is the only way to go.
Okay, thank you. Any more questions? Looking around. No, I don't think so. Yes, Matisse has one in the chat. In what ways are you, Soraya, living the vision?
I'm a big fan of our vision, actually, and I'm trying to have it as a part of everything we do. So when I work with my team, I of course have the vision with me, and like, for example, when we get new employees, I always talk about the vision. I always ask them how can they contribute to the vision. When we have our individual talks, we can talk about questions. It's not that they need to spell the vision out every time we talk about it, but I ask questions that can help them to actually take steps towards the vision. So for us, the vision and our goals, they are the center of all our work. And the whole H22 project, everything we do is about creating Helsingborg 2035. So I usually say that I have a special H22 pulse. And every morning when I go up, it's like pulsing in me. And I'm like, yay, I'm going to go to work and I'm going to change the world. So that is my way of working with the vision.
Are you happy with the pace of the vision on unfolding, or are you impatient?
No, I'm thinking that we're doing a really great steps forward. So yeah, I'm happy about that.
Okay, good. And how happy are you about the involvement of all stakeholders in the city?
I'm quite happy about it, because if we have been having this vision for a couple of years now, and if the involvement wouldn't be big enough, it wouldn't live. So since it's still there ongoing, and I can hear about it, people talk about it, it's included in many projects, so I know it's still alive, and that's really important. And of course, there will be people that haven't embraced it. It's impossible. It's not possible for everybody always to have it. But since it's still alive, it's good.
Okay. Good. Okay, thank you. I'm looking around to see if there's any more questions. Raise your Andrew. No, switching off the microphone again. Yes, and
I've already. Am I allowed a second question? Sorry to jump.
Yes, you are.
Okay, I have a quick one. We've heard a couple of times that it's important to make a vision, in a want of a better word, simple or easy to understand. But what happens for really complex issues that are being tried to solve? Does the simplification make the message watered down, or does it make it more powerful?
I would say it makes it more powerful, because if it's the vision is so simple that you can actually use it as a driving force, it doesn't need to be, it can handle even the complex challenges. And if you have a vision that doesn't help you with different complex challenges, then you maybe you should work with the vision.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Thank you. A final question coming in the chat from Giancarlo. He wonders how you can scale the vision of Helsingborg to a bigger city. What if we make you the mayor of New York, or Moscow, or Melbourne, or whatever? How can you scale the vision?
By hard work. So it will never come easy, and copy paste usually doesn't work, is my experience. You need to do it from the beginning. But what you can do is that you can learn from others' mistakes. So you don't need to do them all over again, but you need to start from the beginning, and then you need to work hard. But it doesn't matter if it's a big city or if it's a small city. The thing about the vision is that it will show you in what direction should we all be working. And when everybody's working towards the same direction, it's more likely that you will end up there. That's just, I think that's the simple way to describe why a vision is powerful.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Officially, we are 1 minute over time. There's no problem to me. I'm kind of hoping that there's no problem to Soraya and Enno too. But I know that some people counted on ending at 5 o'clock. So if you want to leave, please feel free to leave. If you don't want to leave and want to talk some more, feel very free to stay on for a few minutes more. And then we can either to Enno or to Soraya maybe bring in some more questions. So I will give you 30 seconds to make up your mind and either leave or stay a bit. And then we will see if everybody goes or if there are still questions.
Jaap, I have to leave.
You have to leave.
I'm
so
sorry. I have to leave.
Then we say thank you, Enno. Can we all wave at Enno? Yes, all wave at Enno.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Enno.
Thank you, Jaap.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That leaves us Soraya. If there are any more questions to Soraya, feel free to bring them up at this point in time. If not...
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, Ahmad, please.
Yeah. Is there any relationship between quality and type of visions and local conditions?
If there's any, say that again. Is there any Relationship.
Any relationship between quality and type of vision,
Yeah.
and local conditions, geographical places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it easier or harder for Helsingborg to do this vision than, for instance, a city in Holland or in Southern Africa or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah. That's an interesting question. I think you should start with, when you create the vision, you should probably start with finding out what are the strengths to keep on working with, and that in that case I would say there is a relationship on for example, where, in what city, and what you should include in your vision.
And maybe even cultural.
Of course, absolutely. Yeah. I think you need to find something that will work and that will be accepted from people that are going to work with it, key stakeholders. So absolutely, yeah.
Is there any of the participants that have a thought on this, Matthijs?
I was just pointing out to a question in the chat about the scale of the vision. Helsingborg is a rather small town of 150, I say rather small, compared to bigger cities. How do you judge that?
Yeah, but you know what? I think that we have something really good about being, I usually say that we're a mid-sized city. So we're not one of the smallest, but we're definitely not one of the biggest. But we're small enough to be quick, and we're big enough to be strong. So I would say from our perspective, a city of 150,000 people that helps us to actually create a whole lot of value quickly, and to not have too long processes for decision making or whatever. So we can actually achieve a whole lot in a short time. And I think that's why it have been going so well for Helsingborg.
I think that's really interesting, because much of the spotlight is on the big cities and the mega cities, but the small Swedish city can actually really steal the show, if you like. That's really good to hear.
Yeah.
Would that say that if you have a vision for a city, that you should divide the city in smaller portions if you have a very big city?
Oh, I've seen examples of...
I'm serious. Sorry to interrupt you, Soraya, but I see Robert doing this. Could you explain your body language, Robert, here?
Well, I think all cities have to have boroughs, but you have certain things you could best treat on a local scale, and others on a bigger scale or on a medium. So it's not one or the other. You could have to do it in different levels, but the political strength has to be in all levels. So it should not be only the mayor up there and then downstairs the bureaucrats. So the political side should be there, because actually we saw it very much during the virus time now. The real activity to help people was on the local level. The shops, the people who brought food to the people, and so on and so on. And if this wouldn't work, then it wouldn't work anywhere. Good example, our dear Trump. Okay. You know, we tried in Lisbon to discuss small cities, and then because we had 54 boroughs, and it took us 50 years to go down to 17, because that's the other question. If the boroughs are too small, then it gets difficult. If the mayor has to talk to the boroughs, and he has 50 people, he could only talk once a year to everybody. So it's also a question of connecting and between the different levels. Yeah. But I think, it's true what she says. It's not a question of copy paste. That never works. Yeah. Okay. You are quite right, Soraya.
Yes. Okay. Just wonder, any more responses to this or any more questions? Feel free to. Yes, Andrew.
In Victoria is the state that Melbourne is in. We have a really clear example of exactly the dichotomy, if you want to call it, between two cities. Melbourne is a massive, sprawling city of 3 million people, but we have our second biggest city in the state is called Geelong, and it's a very similar size to Helsingborg. It's 150,000 people. It's also within one local government area, whereas Melbourne is fragmented, exactly as Robert was talking. And Geelong has been able to achieve much the same vision as Helsingborg. They are able to implement sort of a creative strategy that puts them similar to what Melbourne is known for in terms of creativity, but on their own path. And I think that's a really, if anyone was interested, it's a really clear example. The two biggest cities in our state is illustrating that point.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Any more thoughts or questions?
I have just a quick comment. And just to say, because a lot of people don't realize that in Montreal, we have 19 different mayors because we have different districts, and we have one, whoever's mayor of Ville-Marie is kind of known to be the mayor outside of Montreal, but in fact, there are 19 of them. So they're all, you know, what we call arrondissement. And so it's a complicated system, and more complicated than people realize, I think. It has its goods and its bads, because I think the decisions are being made closer to where the people are. But when you want to do a mass scale change, you know, you have a lot of different political parties to go through. So, because there can be different political parties in each arrondissement.
So does that make getting to a vision is harder or easier because you can do it more small scale? By the way, Giancarlo adds that Lima has more than 40 mayors. Anyone with more mayors than 40? No? Okay. How does this influence vision making?
I think it depends on what you want to do, because you can perhaps do a project just within one arrondissement, and you know you're going to have enough to work with. So it really depends on what your objectives are and what it is you're trying to accomplish. You know, transport, a little bit more complicated, you know, certain issues, but there are different sort of federal and different levels for different kinds of, you know, things like transport and and
thanks.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Any more thoughts or questions? I think, by the way, that it's close to 5:15. It would be a great time to round up this session. I really want to thank you all for being here. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you got some great ideas on your list that you can use when going back to the office. Yes, there is a list. And there's another list. It looks great. Can I see all the lists? Please show me your lists. Yes, there they are. This is cool. I really love this. Put them under your pillow tonight, please. There's a pink one with a lot of scribbling on it. Looks great, Alejandra. Enno is already gone, but I thank him once again, nevertheless. And I want to thank Soraya for being here and sharing her vision and the way she gets there with us. So could we please get a round of applause for Soraya, please?
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Hope to see you somewhere around the world sometime.